Welcome to the rate/frequency section of the measurement module. In this segment, you will learn about rate/frequency. As an RBT, you may be asked to use one or more of the following types of measurement procedures: event recording, timing, time sampling methods. These procedures fall into two broad categories: continuous measurement and discontinuous measurement. Continuous measurement is divided into two procedures: event recording and timing. Discontinuous measurement has time sampling methods, which we will discuss later in the measurement module. In this module, we will be looking at the continuous measurement procedure. Let's start with event recording. Event recording is recording an instance of behavior, count, that has a clear beginning and end. Remember when we talked about count in the measurable dimensions module? Well, count is very important in event recording. Here are some examples to refresh your memory. She asked 100 questions. She raised her hand 12 times. In these examples, we are recording the instances of the behavior. Now, here's a quick video to show how we can measure rate/frequency.
So if you want to look over here, we have France. Let's just wait until the bell rings. The bell rings in about like 2 to 3 minutes, so if you can just hold that in. Okay? The capital of France is Paris, I'm sorry. But if you look a little bit more to the right, the one that looks like a little boot.
I can't wait, I really need to go to the bathroom.
It's okay, just wait 2 more minutes.
No, I need to go to the bathroom.
So if we go into Italy, the capital of Italy is Rome. And then now if we want to go to the bigger picture, Russia, another Russia. It's this big area right over here.
Mr. Teacher, I have to go.
I just give it a second. We have 1 more minute. The bell's about to ring in just 1 minute.
In this video, Chelsea raised her hand many times during lecture. In order to get an objective measure of what many times truly means, we can collect rate/frequency data. You will learn how to collect rate/frequency data in this module. We can count how many times Chelsea raised her hand. However, we don't know if raising her hand that many times is normal. That is because count is not sufficient without time. Let's see why. Hey John, if Sally raises her hand 12 times, would you say she participates a lot? He chose yes. How can we say? Did she raise her hand 12 times in the one class period or in the entire school year? Sorry, John, this is not the correct answer. Let's try again. This time he chose no. How can we say? Did she raise her hand 12 times in the one class period or in the entire school year? Sorry, this is also not the correct answer. One last try, John. You got it. He chose maybe. Maybe she raised her hand 12 times in one class period, and she does participate a lot. Maybe she only raised her hand 12 times in an entire school year and didn't participate that much. We need more information to know for sure. This is the correct answer. Now that you see why count is not sufficient without time, let's talk about how rate/frequency can help us paint a full picture. Rate/frequency is the measure of count and time. The equation for rate/frequency is count over the observation time period. I'll explain how to do this, then give some examples. When taking rate/frequency data, tally each time the target behavior occurs during the session. At the end of the session, Calculate the number of the occurrence of the behavior by dividing it by the number of minutes of the session. This will give you the rate/frequency as number of occurrences per minute. Let's look at an example. You and your boyfriend are having a conversation. In this 2-hour conversation, your boyfriend says, "ridiculous," 16 times. You would use the equation count over observation time period to calculate the rates/frequency of your boyfriend saying ridiculous. So your boyfriend said ridiculous 16 times in 2 hours, which means your boyfriend says ridiculous 8 times per hour. We can collect rate/frequency data on all different types of behavior. As you can see, we can even collect this form of data on something as fun and creative as a conversation. Let's look at another example. In this example, your baby nephew clapped 4 times in 1.5 hours. We would add the count to the top of the equation 4 times. Next, we would add the observation period, which is 1.5 hours. Now, you can see that your nephew clapped 2.6 times per hour. These are the important things to remember when collecting rate/frequency data. 1. You use rate/frequency to measure behaviors that have a clear beginning and end. 2. You must have count and observation time. And last but not least, number 3, the equation of the rate/frequency, which is count over the observation time period. Now that we have gone over rate/frequency data, let's talk about something every RBT will need to do at the end of every session, which is session observation notes. Session observation notes are descriptive and objective notes that the RBT writes at the end of every session to help others become more informed about what happened during the sessions. These notes should be descriptive, which means that the RBT will tell the reader about the session, and objective, which means that the RBT will tell the reader about observable events that happen during session. Here is an example on how to do this. Let's say you worked with Phil for a 3-hour session and the primary behavior you are collecting data on is aggression. Is this an example of descriptive and objective session observation notes? This would not be an example of objective session notes. Saying that Phil hit a lot does not give your supervisor objective information about Phil's behaviors. It might mean he hit you 10 times or 50 times during the session. Also, saying Phil was mean and in a bad mood is subjective and does not tell your supervisor the specific behaviors you observed during the session, which is necessary in order for your supervisor to deliver effective treatment. Here is how you could write notes about this session with Phil more objectively. Here, the supervisor has a clear idea of the frequency of aggression during Phil's session. 3 times per hour for 3 hours, that calculates to 9 instances of aggression during the session. Also, reporting that Phil got less sleep than usual as an objective observation is helpful information to provide. Aggression may have been more frequent that day due to Phil not getting enough sleep, and it also may account for him being in a bad mood, So including this additional information in objective terms is very helpful. That concludes our review of continuous measurement procedures, rate and frequency. Please complete the checkpoint questions on Canvas.